Hello everyone, this is Wylam here. In today's vlog, I want to talk about the new Nikon mirrorless systems that they just announced. Now, for those of you who don't know, I've been a big Nikon fan. I actually grew up on Nikon. I spent 20 years, basically 2 decades, shooting on Nikon before moving away from Nikon. And the reason why I moved away from Nikon was because I needed better video features. And when I was looking around, the Fuji system stood out to me the most. That's the reason why I went ahead, sold all of my Nikon stuff, and moved over to the Fuji system. Now, having said all that, I am still very brand loyal to Nikon just because I love the system so much. I grew up on it and I really want them to do well. But seeing these announcements and seeing how they've been reviewed, sort of, the first look at them. So in this vlog, I just want to give my opinions on some of this stuff because truly, I don't really want any camera company to do badly. I want them all to succeed, and I am a little bit brand loyal to Nikon. Just being honest here, I don't have any insider knowledge of this. This is just me talking. This is just me being a fan of the camera systems. So for anybody who doesn't want to hear my rant, here's the short of it. I think the Z7, they should just go ahead and delay it, redesign it, make it into a real pro camera like they did the 850. And for the Z6, they should lower the price on that so that it doesn't compete directly with the Sony A7 Mark III. Just because in terms of specs, it's just not going to work out well for them. So here's the reason why I say this. The Nikon D850 is still selling like gangbusters. It is just a super popular camera. It's the reason why they're doing so well financially in 2018. For anybody who doesn't track Nikon, in 2017, they were almost in financial bankruptcy. The government of Japan was actually worried that a Chinese conglomerate would buy out Nikon, and then the Nikon brand would actually move over to China. That's how badly off they were. They came out with the A50, stuffed it with all the best technology that they had, and it's really what's bailed them out, and it's still selling. It's still on back order right now. Having shot with that camera from 2 other people that own it, it is an excellent camera. I do love that camera. It's just that now I'm on the mirrorless side, and I'm really not going to go back to the DSLR. But I do know that it is an excellent camera. And for such an expensive camera, it's amazing that it's still in back order years after it's been released. Now, having said all of that, you can really tell that there seems to be a culture battle inside of Nikon, because right now the DSLR market is what's keeping them propped up. They've had a very strong year thanks to the Nikon D850, but they're looking forward into the future knowing that mirrorless is going to be a contender. Now you have this problem where the old dog, the DSLR market, is really propping up the company, but you're spending tons of money into this new mirrorless technology. And keep in mind, the Nikon One, their first mirrorless camera, it didn't go over very well. So I can't imagine this being a very easy decision to be made inside Nikon right now. You're looking at spending a lot of money on a market share that they have very little of, and also their track record hasn't been very good. So I'm kind of surprised with that when they made the announcement, they actually had 2 cameras. One going directly after the Sony A7 Mark III and the other one going after the Sony A7R III. 2 direct competitors to them, but if you look at it spec-wise, they're really not up to par with the Sony cameras. So if you price them competitively to each other, you're just begging for people to point out your deficiencies. We've actually already seen this play out with Canon. Canon has been known to gimp their cameras so that they don't cannibalize their other markets. The problem is that this is a new age of reviewing. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody can make a video just like me. They no longer can control the narrative of these storylines and these reviews because people like me can just go ahead and read what the pros are saying, make up our own minds, and share our opinions. And we can very easily get into a group and decide whether or not this is a good camera and bad camera, and we can actually influence the populace as a whole. This is something that I think Nikon really hasn't seen yet, but they're about to get a big dose of it. I'm not sure if they're going to like what they see, but companies like Sony and Fuji, in my opinion, have kind of caught on and realized that when they release new cameras, they're really just going to cram the best technology that they have into these cameras to stay ahead of this review, the shared market anymore. Anybody can actually make an opinion, and those opinions can very quickly become popular consent. These are things that they have to really consider right now at this point. I really think they should reconsider how they want to launch the mirrorless systems. A couple of things that I do quickly want to say is that when it comes to Sony, I think we've already seen this. You really don't want to compete with them on spec. You don't really want to compete with them on price, because they have shown that they're willing to outspec you and they're willing to stay with you on price. You really have to out innovate them. You really have to create something that is unique to your camera systems that the other ones just don't have. Of course, this is going to be very difficult. That's the nature of business. Nikon traditionally has been super great in low light. Their dynamic range has always been excellent. And the images that come out of the cameras, they're really beloved, at least to me anyways. What really struck me as wrong when they released this camera system was that they weren't trying to compete on image quality, which is something that they've been known for. If I was going to go ahead and release a camera that's basically the same price as our competitors, what I really want to sell home is that our camera systems is worlds better in imagery. That's the only way I think that you can actually win against the Sony systems right now. What I really would have liked to see was them coming out with new sensors that really compete at a higher level than what the current systems are, and that's how they were going to gain their popularity in the mirrorless systems. But it didn't play out like that. They look like they're just trying to come out with a competitor to the Sony systems. They're really not trying to outdo them or succeed them. And in a market like this, where more and more people are getting savvy to specs in what camera companies are doing because information is so easy to get nowadays, I don't think it's going to work out. I can keep going on about my speculations, but there's really no point. Right now, the big thing is we really don't know what the images are going to look like in the production cameras. I'm really hoping they stand out both in low light, dynamic range, and just the picture quality right off the sensor. If they can prove that, then they still have a chance. That's really all I have to say this week. Please leave your comments below on what you think about the Nikon announcement. I'd really love to know. And until next time, have a great day.